Hey guys, so welcome to my channel. Today we'll be looking at another interesting thing. It's called motion sickness. So motion sickness is very common. One or two of you might have, experienced it in one way or the other. So it's actually caused by a repeated motion from a vehicle or other kind of movements that disturb the inner ear. So by which I mean it could be an airplane, it could be automobile, it could be amusement park riding. That actually happened to me once. So in fact, there is one study that was published in PLOS ONE in 2013 that suggests that 3D movies can also cause nausea, which is a very common symptom of motion sickness. Very weird, right? I've already put that study in the description box. If you want to go through it, it's very interesting. Now, this condition called motion sickness is the name that is usually given to it, but when riding a boat or when you are in a ship, it is often referred to as seasickness, but it's actually the same disorder. So what's the cause of this? Actually, we don't have a definitive pathophysiology behind this, but it is said that motion is usually, but this is very true, this is scientifically proven, that motion is sensed by the brain through different pathways of the nervous system. And these include the inner ear, your eyes, the vision, and the tissues of the body surface. And this is the proprioceptors. Now, when the body is moved intentionally, for example, when you are walking, the input from all the pathways are coordinated by our brain. So, because when you are walking, we literally are using our eyes to see, the inner ear, the sounds that we hear, and the tissues of the body surface also know where we are, how we are standing up, how we are walking, etc. So when the body is moved intentionally, all of these inputs are coordinated in our brain or by our brain. Now, the symptoms of motion sickness appear when the central nervous system receives conflicting messages from the sensory systems. What are those sensory systems? I've already mentioned them. The inner ear, your eyes, and skin pressure receptors, and the muscle and joint sensory receptors. All of these things are are part of your sensory systems. They tell you where you are, how you're moving, and stuff like that. Your balance, your coordination. So if there are conflicting messages being received by these sensory systems, then you might have motion sickness. As an example, if someone is sat on a boat or in a car, not looking out of a window, for example. You're in a car, you're not looking out of the window. Your inner ears, they will sense movement up and down, like this lady right here. Left and right, Her inner ear is actually sensing movements going up, down, left, and right. Look at those eyes. Those eyes would actually see a very static view, as if they are not even moving at all. Now, motion sickness is hypothesized that the conflict among the inputs is responsible for this. Because if you're having motion sickness, that means you are receiving conflicting inputs in these three systems that I've made mention of. Your inner ear, your eyes, your vision, and your skin pressure receptors, as well as the muscle and joint sensory receptors. This is why your brain is all messed up. For lack of a better word here. Not that you are crazy. So you will experience symptoms such as nausea, very common, vomiting and sweating, shortness of breath. You have dizziness. Some people have drowsiness as well. And even others will experience headaches, by which I mean a friend of mine, Easy Khalifa. So diagnosis of this is clinical. So the purpose of this video is to help you with some tips, some remedies or preventative measures. If you experience a motion sickness, what you need are the following. Number one, always sit in a position so that your eyes can see the same position or the same motion that the body and inner ear feels. So just sit right there. Always in a position that your eyes can see everything. All right. Now, in a car, you have to sit in the front seat and look at the distant scenery in the horizon. This equals to that of a boat. If you are sitting on a boat, you watch the motion of the horizon. You don't have to read anything while traveling if you're someone that experiences motion sickness. And do not sit in a seat facing backward, or like you be using your phone as well. You don't have to do that. Do not watch or talk to another traveler, especially travelers that are also experiencing motion sickness, because you'll all go through something psychologically called loading. So avoid very strong odors and spicy or greasy foods immediately before and during the travel. There are certain medications, that can help you prevent motion sickness and are best taken before traveling, at least 2 to 4 hours before you travel. One of them is called scopolamine, and the other one is called dimenhydrinate. And chewing gum as well can also be very, very helpful. So, motion sickness is a very, very normal physiological response to a very provocative stimulus. And those stimulus, individuals that are susceptible to motion sickness will have varying signs and symptoms as well. So the exact pathophysiology, like I said, is undefined, but it is said to occur only when the sensory systems are all receiving conflicting messages or conflicting stimuli.